see here. Hey everybody, welcome GMB Pros. Today is with our friend and speaker Rhy Southern, speaking on CTR. Any questions you have about CTR, Rhy has shown us different different examples, answered questions as far as numbers, how far to go, what not to do, what to do, do's and don'ts, best practices, right, guys? So welcome everybody. Henry, Jay, Sir, Bell, Ahmed, and then whoever iPhone is, welcome, guys. I appreciate you. Those that are catch the replay, hopefully we can give you guys some gold nuggets that you can apply. Please come with questions. Type in your questions in the comments here, and we'll ask you guys to unmute if you want to pitch in. If you want to ask your questions, it's not a problem. More than happy. Rhy is pretty knowledgeable. For those of you that don't know Rhy, and one thing that I like to bring the speakers in is somebody that's in the trenches, that's doing it, not theory, not somebody that talks about it. He has his own agency, he's doing it. In the future he's going to come out with a program, but he has his own that uses in-house, and it's helping you guys. So the ultimate goal, guys, here is give you aha moments, maybe a different perspective, give you some insight, and more importantly is to help you grow or help your customers rank and get more phone calls, right? That's the ultimate goal here that we want to get.
We're all here helping businesses and trying to get them more business, rank better, and figuring out ways in the process, really.
Absolutely.
There's so many ways to do it, but it's good to get information from everybody and sort of bounce ideas around, and just general conversation is good, just to re-spark things you might have heard about in the past, or maybe you saw something, didn't fully understand it, and we can go through something today, or just have a good chat about CTR and maps and in general.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys have any specific questions, go ahead and feel free to ask them in the chat. Rhy, I don't know if you wanted to show anything in particular, starting in particular, anything that you wanted to share with us, guys. Also, this is CTR focus. What you've done, what you should do before you even get to CTR. I think we talked a little bit about this like 2 weeks ago, like proxies, which software. There's a few out there that that you can use. I've used some. There's no secret. Agency Assassin, I've used it. I am on a different one that I'm testing now, what proxies to use and whatnot. So any questions like that. I know, Henry, last night you had a question. This is it kind of bleeds into that, because it's about local, about CTR, and then maybe we can ask Rhy or even the group here as far as verification, video verification. So we can ask that somewhere along the way, but we do want to keep it on topic as far as CTR, or if you wanted to share something or start anything, what your thought process was.
I don't have too much planned today. I did think of a couple of ideas. So I was either going to talk about organic CTR, which we haven't covered yet. We've only really done map stuff, or local guide accounts, which is maps related, but isn't specifically like CTR bots, but is more, it's still CTR in a way, because it's still engagement and like what you can use those local guide accounts for, how you can warm them up and age them and that sort of thing. So if anyone has any preferences, we've got a few people in here. Put a 1 in chat if you want to talk about local guides, and put a 2 in chat if you want to talk about organic CTR. We'll see if we get any responses there.
let's see if we get any responses. And then I had a question that somebody brought up. So two, we got some twos. What was number two, Riz?
2 was the
Organic CTR.
Organic. Okay, perfect. So
Alright.
organic CTR, excellent. Now, Riz, with that, somebody asked me like, what is the weight, since you brought it up with local guides, and then maybe you can tie it into organic CTR. If you can dive into that a little bit.
So I think generally with the local guide accounts, the first sort of obvious thing you'll see when looking on Google, on the Google Maps platform, is a lot of highly recommended reviews, and sort of the most relevant reviews come from local guide accounts. And it's a mixture between a couple of things. The first thing is generally local guides that are sort of out there in the community trying to improve Google Maps will generally leave very accurate reviews with photos that are super relevant, and Google sort of associates that with, you know, when you write a review that's really detailed and you add some photos, the odds are it's going to be shown in that sort of most recommended section.
I'm sorry, quick question. That photos has to be a geo coordinate has to be matched with the listing?
No.
No. Okay.
It helps, but it doesn't have to be matched. Like you can, I've seen clearly stock photos used in reviews that still appear as sort of most relevant. I think it's a combination between, Google obviously has programs, internal tools that they use to analyze images. They have for years, even before all this sort of next gen AI stuff started coming out. So if the image is relevant to the review, which is relevant to the business, then that sort of triangle helps with the most relevant. But then in saying that, sort of, that's why local guide accounts generally have more relevant reviews, because statistically, the average local guide account is going to leave better reviews because they're more enthusiasts, they're more sort of involved in the platform.
And chances are more to stick, right? Not to get dropped.
That's more so on how you use, on how the accounts are used. Like if you created a local guide account and then just didn't touch it, it's still sort of susceptible to Google's algorithm updates and their inactivity updates. And like, if you don't log into a Google account, I think they've changed their policy now. So 12 months, they start deleting data and sort of wiping things. But I think
you need to keep them warm.
Yeah, I mean, you need to use a Google account. Like if you're going to do things on the Google platform like a user does, then you need to act like a user. So I mean, you don't need to go crazy and use them every day and sort of have 5-10 hours of screen time every day. But it is important to log in and do things, and sort of it's a massive factor when it comes to like Google wiping accounts. I mean, even sometimes like you might log into an account you've had for years, and if you haven't used it for a couple of years, I've had my Gmail, my original Gmail that I created, my name at gmail.com, 2010 or something. It got disabled a few years ago because I stopped using it. I logged in and then I put in my recovery email and I got the account back and there was no issues. But those sort of things definitely impact when you're doing things on customer profiles for sure. But back to my original point, I think that's the main reason why local guide accounts appear to be more genuine and more recommended, because they are genuinely giving more information into the community. However, because statistically local guide accounts are giving more to the community, Google weights those accounts stronger than a normal account, because Google is expecting a sort of over-the-top delivery because they're a local guide, because they're sort of helping the Google Maps platform. I mean, Google Maps is built on contributions, user contributions. So it's no surprise that user engagement helps, but user contributions are definitely trusted signals. If you're going and uploading photos to businesses and they're real photos of that business, and you're answering questions which are accurate to the business, of course Google's going to like your account more than other accounts because you're helping their platform. So I think it's a combination between, in the wild, you'll generally see more recommended reviews as local guide accounts because they're the people that leave the best reviews generally. But if you're trying to do it yourself, or you're trying to build a local guide account yourself, you will also notice that there is a little bit of extra sort of weight when it comes to that most recommended section, which you can only assume follows on to other things like engagement. If a local guide account is going to search into your and click on your business, like say CTR, obviously you can't do it at scale because it's like a physical logged in account. But if you're doing things on your profile with your local guide account, you're going to get better results than if it's just a normal account or if the browser session is not logged in at all.
So do you, so the question is, it still holds weight then? You still thinks it makes a difference?
Yeah,
Now,
definitely. But not as much as some people might think. Like if you're just looking in the wild, you're gonna be like, wow, these local guides are crazy. They're all of the reviews are most recommended. But generally, I think that's a lot to do with the fact that they are genuinely the most relevant comments.
Rhys, I have a local guide 10 accounts, couple of them, about the 6, 7 of them, but never I tried to get the GMB verification with those accounts. What do you think? But all the reviews I leave with those accounts, they stick.
Yeah.
I haven't tried any of them to get the GMB verification, but I had the local guide 6 account, which I had about 4 or 5 GMBs on it, and they suspend whole account. All my GMBs got suspended.
Yeah.
Even was a local guide 6 account. Clear,
Yeah.
you know, it's not that was the account I was using every day. I have all the YouTube videos there, all the engagement for years and years.
Yeah, I think the YouTube, I think the Google business algorithms are completely separate from the Google algorithms. Like, I don't think there's too much you can do to actually get like an account on the Google Maps platform trusted for Google business. Even though they're similar, even though all Google businesses are on Google Maps, like there's not too much you can do contribution wise or like age wise or activity wise to actually sort of trust Google, for Google to trust the account enough to leave the GMBs. I don't do any verifications at all. But if I were to, I would use like a workspace account, like an actual Google domain where you bought from them. That would be my recommendation. I've never sort of seen better success from aged accounts or local guide accounts or any of those funky accounts. Like generally it's if the domain matches the business name and you've got a good address, you might be able to get a couple. But scaling it is near impossible.
The workspace is the best way.
Yeah, and you can get the 2-week free trial and you can cancel it, you can transfer the account.
I know. I had a couple of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't do it. I don't do it at all. But that's the way that I've heard people do it. All of that.
Yeah, like on mine. So when I get my Gmail accounts, guys, because of scale and I gotta get these to work on some of my profiles, I put them on a browser, and then I use Instantly to get that warmed up, and then I take with the browser, put some robots so they can open up, and do some surfing instantly with back and forth with the Gmail. My ultimate goal is that I'm trying to dominate is building that trust up. That's really what I'm trying to get. And you know, I think a lot of these are going to be timed, and then on scale, even to that point where I'm getting that, it's tough because you have to, like, on Instantly, to get all these uploaded and in there, you have to do you know, app verification, then you have to do two-way verification, and then I give it a birthday, I give it a phone number, recovery email, and then you change the recovery email, right? So all that is a process. But I think what we're trying to ultimately do is, if we don't convert them to a like a local guide account, what I recently even had my VAs and project managers add addresses to another check mark to add that trust, right? You know, which helps us, you know, to navigate, you know, it's becoming that review to become sticky on the profiles, right? And I think that kind of ties into like where we're, you know, what everybody voted for as far as the organic CTR, right? You know, to get that ranking on the GMB to go up. That way, when people search for your keyword, that you'll be in the top 3 organically, and even with the website, that they'll be able to get that to get to look and get the calls. Did you have any other like tips like towards that organic CTR, Riz?
Yeah, we can get started on that. We can sort of go through it. Let me share my screen. I don't have much, but I have a blank Word document and we can fill it in as we go. Share. Right. Okay. So, when it comes to organic CTR, it's a similar process to the Google Maps, but there are some extra things which we can add in because we have different types of organic CTR. Generally with the maps, it's just clicking on Google Maps or maybe like manipulated URLs. With organic CTR, we have just Google search, branded. We have keywords, and we have branded plus keywords, same as Google Maps, you know, the 3 basic CTR starters. And then we also have referral traffic. So this is when a user clicks on someone else's website, then clicks through to your website. So that can be either branded, so that would be citation, press release, directory, social, things like that, or we could be target. Is there a way for me to stop getting these notifications? Because it stops my mouse it stops my key stroke
Let me
every time
look.
someone wins.
Yeah, let me try. Good.
It's because I'm sharing this screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, so referral traffic, you've got branded referral traffic and target referral traffic. So targeted referral traffic is more sort of guest posts mainly. Google Stack, Drive Stacks, like if you've got like a Google Hub or something, that could also be branded as well. And potentially they double up press releases if it's a sort of target focused press release. Yeah, that's generally sort of all the links you'd build, and you put things, you run those referral traffic campaigns through these different methods. And branded, it's quite simple. You just search for your brand name and variations of your brand name, and then you sort of go through the different websites page 1, page 2, sort of the bot can go through and click on them. Targeted can be a little bit more tricky because often the guest posts you buy won't rank. Like the intention of buying a backlink is not for the article to rank. It's great if it does, and you're going to get a much bigger boost from the backlink if you get a link on a page or a blog that ranks. But for 99% of us, the reality is none of our backlinks have traffic because they're hard to get. You look at any top ranking business in Google, and 99% of their backlinks have zero traffic. It's just, it's a link. It's the equity. It's the juice that you get from a backlink, not necessarily the traffic. So you can sort of add in brand modifiers. So the result shows up. Like say your keyword is how to clean a dog. You could put in the business name, dog cleaners are us. And then that is going to show your potentially, wait, no, you wouldn't do that with, sorry, let's go back. You're going to then put in like the name of the blog where the guest post is. So say it's, I don't know, Dog's World. And then that result, searching that in Google is going to show the blog on the guest site, on the site that you've actually got a link on. It can be a little bit more difficult with the targeted stuff, as I said, because most things aren't going to rank. But you can look through your backlink profile and find things that do rank and sort of start off that way. And also, if you look at the percentage of your referral traffic in your in your Google Analytics, it's very low. So you don't need to be sending many clicks for referral. A couple a day is more than enough. Sometimes that's too many. So have a play around with them. I know there's a lot of programs where you can use referral. I think the most known one would be CTR Booster. They have like a specific tab where you can do it, but I think other tools also allow it. There's many tools out there. This is not a tools show, but it's more about setting up the CTR. So, and in brand modifiers for the guest post website instead. If the guest post doesn't. Right. And then for the press releases as well, you can sort of search. Often if you search for like updates or news related to a business around the time a press release has been launched, you're going to see press release. Like if you get a decent one and you've got Yahoo and Bloomberg and AP and Benzinga and the decent ones, you're going to see them showing up in Google when you search for the brand name and news or updates or press release or things like that. And again, those keywords themselves might not be super relevant to ranking, but as soon as that click comes on that other website and then you get a click as a referral, Google's not really putting that much effort into where the original click came from. They're more sort of focusing on this website is relevant. It has a link to this website and the user clicked on it. Like they're not going back through your whole search history and where all of the links you've clicked in great detail. So adding in a few sort of keywords that might not be relevant to help you rank, but are relevant to get the blog you need to show up for in Google is definitely helpful. You're gonna see an increase in your website ranking, even if the term you're using in the referral is not 100% relevant to your business. Other things, direct traffic. Pretty self-explanatory. Just people often will just click on a link or type in a link straight into the search bar. Like I mean, it's not as common. Again, you need to check the numbers, but this is something else that organically in the wild happens. And socials, paid and free. Now, ads, Facebook ads, are a great form of CTR. Very, very underutilized. Yeah, sure, they cost money, but every tool slash service slash proxies cost money. But what's better than getting real logged in users from your city on your website? Not much. So
There's campaigns, right, in the paid ads, but it just gets you there just to click, wherever you want them to go.
yeah, I mean, we used to do Facebook ads. We don't do so much anymore, but you can set up very cheap campaigns where, as long as it's not like a conversion of action, as long as the intent is not conversion, you can get some cheap ads. Play around with it. I mean, you can do some sort of more slightly nefarious stuff by running an ad for a free competition that doesn't exist or something like that. And then as soon as they click on the website, it might spike your bounce rate or something, but at low volumes, you can definitely get a few clicks a day through Facebook ads for relatively cheap. And then socials in general, like as a referral source. Like in a lot of programs, you can sort of set the referral source where the traffic came from. And increasing your social referrals is also something that genuine businesses have. I mean, if a business goes viral, they get a bunch of likes on social media, they get a bunch of clicks. Generally, they rank better. And if I have the document, let me try and find something here. I remember seeing a study based on this. Might not be able to find this. Let's have a look.
And as Reese is looking for this, guys, now, this is organic CTR. So this is another form of CTR, right? It's like where you are pointing the bot to, like searching for that particular Google search, and it's like on a browser, right? Or keyword, and then clicking on your website, right? Or even clicking on your GMB, keyword plus brand, referral traffic, right? And he gives us examples and targets and direct traffic, social, all that. Those are particular URLs that you would put in the let's say CTR booster, right? And it would run traffic to there. Not a lot. Michael Marlino has spoken about this a lot. We always talk about just in CTR in general, just for the GMB. This is kind of geared towards the website. And then what tool matters is, the bot that you put it in to, the traffic, that all still matters. We still don't want to get violent with it. We still want to do the best practices. And then I think the proxies matter. So if we take care of those 4 things, don't get violent, do the best practices. We have the tool CTR booster, because that's kind of like what I'm familiar with Garrett. And then the proxies with that, Chris Palmer has some decent proxies that are tied in, with Proxicide with good support. I think it'll be effective. But again, best practices, take care of the stuff, just like if you were doing CTR for the GMV profile. Hopefully that made sense, guys.
Yeah, it's very important to have your foundations set up. I mean, every week, every fortnight, we go over making sure the numbers are right, keeping it slow, not doing too much. And it's sort of, I don't like to repeat myself too much, so I haven't said much of that today, but it's exactly the same processes. Like, don't want to overcook it. You don't want to shoot for the moon and put in a crazy amount of clicks for a website that ranks on page 5, because it just is not going to help. Like, you need to get foundations in. And with organic, it's a lot more, there's a lot more you can do with your foundations. So, I mean, you always want to, this is going to be very brief. So if you want to take some notes, take some notes, but you always want to start with your foundational links, your citations, your social profiles, your web 2.0s, your directory listings, free listings, any of those things, always start with them as soon as you can. Like, do not delay that. That's the first thing we do when we set up a campaign organically. We then structure the site, because you can always structure the site after the links are built, because they take a bit of time to come in. So we build the foundational links, we structure the site, whether that's adding city pages or different sites, it's different structure, of course. And then we optimize the on-page text, and then we start buying backlinks, and then we start CTR. So
Guys,
you want to have foundations in place.
Do you see that order that Riz just took us through? That thought process, that's like money right there, guys. That's money right
If you
there.
start your CTR too early, you will delay your rankings by months, because that initial boost you get when you add content and optimize it and add links, that's really important. Getting that initial spike in impressions, and an increase in impressions with no clicks is very, very natural to Google, because that's what happens. I mean, how many times have you sit there talking to a client, you're like, yeah, everything's great, look at all of these graphs, everything's going up. The client's like, yeah, we're not getting any leads. It's like, well, yeah, that's because you get impressions, and then you get rankings, and then you get leads. Whereas if you start with the clicks, it just confuses Google. So build your foundational links, structure your site, do your on-page. If you then need to do a little bit of CTR, put in a tiny bit of branded CTR, build your backlinks, and then see where you are, see where you sit, where you settle, and then work on the CTR from there.
So guys, Riz, like he said, we're gonna make today a little bit short. We talked a little bit earlier the week, like this part, I think it's missing a little bit. I think it's important. And then that thought process, those steps that Riz just took you to, that is gold, that is money, guys, and that's huge.
And this is the post that I was referring to earlier. So I think it's actually related to maps, but I'll summarize this. I'll put it in the chat if anyone wants to read along. Can I do that? Nice. Here we go. So basically what they're saying is the test was setting up posts going viral on, I think it was TikTok. And pretty much, like, these are big accounts. These are actual genuine accounts. These are real large social media accounts. Required large accounts with a lot of active users. One of the accounts is worth $2 million. So it's like not something that we can replicate, but basically, what it found was within 2 viral posts linking on 3 platforms, so 6 posts total that linked together, took a GMB to #1 within a matter of days. It's replicated it many times for a lot of keywords. I think in the last, it's been a long time since I've seen this. Yeah, so like it's a long speech, but basically, when I can push a term like New York personal injury lawyer out of the 3-pack in a few days with a few viral posts, what will happen to SEO? So what they're saying is, like, social media, like viral videos on social media are becoming a bigger and bigger ranking factor in Google, which obviously we can't go out and spend $2 million on a social media account which has 10 million followers to get some viral videos. but it just shows you the weight that Google is putting towards social media. Like if you can, I mean, I trust Matt Bowley. He knows what he's talking about. He's respected in the industry, and if they do these sort of tests and they get these sort of results, that shows that Google is really weighting social media. So if we're trying to fake it, good place to start. And even better than faking it is getting ads, because that's real customers on social media. And yeah, it's not a viral post, so the signals are going to be slightly different, but it's as good as you're going to get without having 10 million followers on TikTok. So that is pretty much all the different CTR, organic CTR techniques. Now, in terms of numbers, that's the most common question. What's the ratio? What's the numbers? How do I actually set this up myself? And it always depends on your niche, your location, and your competitors. So use the tools to check what your competitors are doing. Like, you can go into SEMrush or Ahrefs and you can check the branded traffic, and you can check the referral traffic on certain tools, and you can analyze for yourself your competitors to see what they're getting. Because when it comes to the maps, the tools aren't very accurate for the data, for the numbers, for the search volume. But when it comes to organic, they are, because that's what the tools are built on. Like, they're a lot more accurate with organic than they are with maps. So you can get a lot more granular with the data from Ahrefs or SEMrush to really see how many searches are coming in. The referral traffic should be very low, because, I mean, referral traffic, what, a few percent, I think. I don't have any numbers off the top of my head, but I think a few percent of your total clicks would be referral traffic. So don't shoot for 30%, because it's just not natural. Less is more. Less is more with the CTR, always. Sounds pretty simple. I mean, really, it is. Like, do this, check your competitors to see what sort of numbers they're getting, and then start off low, of course. And when I say check your competitors to see what numbers they're doing, it's more important about the ratios between these than it is about the numbers. Because if you're not ranking so well, you're not going to be getting anywhere near as amount of clicks as your competitors. So you don't want to be shooting for the numbers they get. You want to be shooting for the different ratios that they're getting and increasing all of those at the same time. So if 3% of their traffic is referral and yours is 0 because you don't have an established brand, you want to work your way up to 3%. And if you're only getting 200 clicks a month, well, that's 6 clicks a month. Not many. Like, don't do it 2 clicks a day if you're only getting 200 clicks a month in total, because you're going to be having 30 or 40% of your engagement as referral traffic, which you don't want. So the ratios are important, again, as always. A couple of other notes I would say would be this is like a page by page thing. Basis. So we're not talking about the whole site, we're talking about each page. So don't look at the whole site traffic, look at the pages traffic, because each page is going to have different metrics.
Remember, guys, Google doesn't rank domains, they rank URLs.
Spot on. And you might get you will get benefits if you have a strong domain, but Google ranks pages, not websites. That is like fact. Sure, if you're Forbes and you post a blog, you're going to be #1. But Google ranks pages, not websites. Another thing. Yeah, Harry.
Are you still using niche relevant PBNs?
We don't use too many PBNs, to be honest. I sort of got more into actual link building lately. We always start off with the foundational links and then do a drive stack, Web 2.0s, interlink them. And we used to do the PBNs, but now mainly guest posts, to be honest. We've found a good process to actually outreach, and a big thing for guest posts for me would be getting a small amount of links that your competitors have links on. So reach out to those exact blogs where your competitors have a link and buy a link on that page higher than them. Because they're relevant. Like if the top ranker has a link on this page, check the metrics first, obviously. Maybe they wasted their money, but that's good signals to Google. But we don't do too many PBN stuff anymore. Too unreliable. Like PBNs can work well, but when they're closed, like there was a few instances where we bought some PBNs and they were a reputable seller, and then I found the links through like Bing Analytics, and they were these DR5s, absolute crap websites, and they were charging decent money for them, saying they were good. So it kind of put me off them. I like to see the website and check the metrics and sort of know what I'm buying at the end of the day. But if you build your own PBNs, fantastic. But I've never touched that. That seems like way too much effort for me. Get your expired domains and rebuild the content and post all the content. Yeah, it's a great idea if you've got the time. Like if you have multiple clients in the one niche, you can do it. But no, I don't. And the last note I will say is don't go higher than like your max CTR on a page. So like if you have a website and some of the pages rank well and some of the new pages are new and don't rank, and say your click-through rate, like your actual click-through rate in Google Search Console peaks at like 8% on a good day, don't go shooting for 50% when you're trying to rank new pages. Don't go higher than that sort of 5-8%, because it just looks unnatural. So you need to counter the impressions to the clicks. And if you don't get many impressions, you can't run too many clicks. And you need to keep it slow until the impressions naturally build before you can add more clicks, because that can be detrimental to your website for your max, for your best performing page. If you have no pages that perform well, just use some common sense and don't go higher than say 10. Like you're never going to rank on page 1 and get 50% click-through rate. So why would you send in 50% of the clicks as impressions? 50% of the impressions as clicks. That's my final note. I'm sure there's more to it, but I think we have to wrap this up today. Are there any final questions that anybody has before we sign off?
So I appreciate you, Riz, and I thank you guys. Take notes of this. This is super useful. He gave you that gold nugget as far as the process was concerned. So that is gold, guys. If you take that to the bank, you should be good. Again, like I mentioned, CTR booster kind of gives you that section where you can put specific URLs, right? And, to these strings that you can attach them to, right? To help you with your organic CTR booster. I will put these links also in the message, within the GMB Pros, guys, so you guys can have these to reference to, take notes and adjust them. So guys, I appreciate you. We will be on tomorrow with myself. We're doing a little bit of sales, and I am gonna have a guy, bringing on a speaker, I should say, a gentleman for link building. So we'll get into a little bit more of that to help us on our overall. So with that said, Riz, I appreciate you. I thank you, guys. Hopefully this was of value. And like always, much love, much success, and I'll see you on the next one.
Thank you.
Guys, have a great evening, day, morning, wherever it is in your part of the world.
You have an evening there, right?
Yeah, it's 8:45 here.
You have a good night, sir.
So yeah, thank you.
We still have it in the morning.